Okay, what we're going to try to test this time is the dreaded 68 wiper motor. The 68 wiper motor is unlike any other motor. The 63 to 67 motors all test the same way. You can run ground, and positive. In this case, the 68 motor is a little bit different. You still run the ground, and positive to the 1, 2, 3 connector, but you've got to wire some more wires up on the motor to test it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the white wire, which is your ground. Now originally these three wires right here, all three of these wires, the brown, the red, and the white, were encased in a connector. It looked like this right here, and that was your connector. The rebuilt motors, because the connectors aren't available, they don't come with that connector, so you have to reuse your old one. You want to make sure the red wire's in the bottom. You want to make sure the white wire's in the bottom. You want to make sure the brown wire's up on top. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's the way they're supposed to be. Original wires had a sheath on them. You look at this wire, it's sheathed wire, it's got a white wire underneath of it. Facing you, the connector, like this, if you're looking at the connector, that would be your white. This side here would be your red, and this side is your brown up here. So with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to act like the motor's sitting in the car. We're going to hook a ground wire up to the case, and we're going to ground out the white wire. In our diagram that we have on the website, it's willcoxcorvette.com. There's two L's in Willcox. I believe that would be wire number 4 in the diagram, and you want to put a ground on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run a brown wire, and this brown wire is misleading. It's not really a ground, it's actually a 12-volt wire. When the motor's running, this brown wire will supply power to your tach solenoid. The power will run from this wire up to your limit switch. It goes through your limit switch and then comes out the limit switch as a black, or I think you'll see it's a brown wire with a white stripe, and it runs all the way from the limit switch connection, like I said, back to the wiper solenoid, which is mounted on the back of the tachometer. The wiper solenoid, when it gets power, it cuts vacuum off. On a 68, it cuts vacuum off straight to the relay. There's no wiper arm switch on it like the 69 to 72 cars. So let's get back at this motor test real quick. The red wire coming out of the back, or out of the top of the case, that wire is a 12-volt wire, so we want to run 12 volts to this, and we're going to hook it up, and we'll just put it out of the way over here. You want the 1, 2, 3 connector. It's the same as the other year cars. The blue wire will be on top, so we're going to plug up the blue wire. The yellow is in the middle, and then we're going to hit the green one on the bottom. We're going to use these little jumpers for doing our test. Hopefully we'll get them all on there with no problems. Okay, so can you see that? So there's your 3 wires connected up. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to run 12 volts to the yellow wire, and that gives us power on the can. And the last thing we want to do, just so we can illustrate how the 12-volt output works on the brown wire, is we're going to hook up a multimeter to it, and we're going to pinch that on there, and then we're going to pinch the connector under here, and that should give us a reading of 0, which the motor's not running, so we shouldn't have any power on there. So can you see that? Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit the grounds. These are your 2 grounds for your circuit. When you hit those on the motor and you ground your case, you should have a motor that's going to run in low. So with both those 2 grounds on, it's going to run in low speed, and when you remove the green wire, it should run in high speed. Now to make the thing park, you put that green wire back on and you remove the blue wire, and the motor parks. So once again, both wires grounded low speed, green wire removed high speed, blue wire removed park. And that's how you test your 68 wiper motor. Now, there's one thing that we referred to on the last test for the 69 up motors, and that was a motor that kept trying to run and go and click. And what happens is, if you remove the power from the yellow wire, it's going to park. But if you remove, and let me think here, if you remove both wires from the motor like that, that's your end result. So if you've got a motor that's acting this way, then you've obviously got a problem on your green and your blue wire running to your motor. If you hook them back up, and we're back on low speed, and then watch it take off again, and then click, it can't park. So you're not grounding the park switch when it's doing that, but if you put that green on, it parks and stops instantly. So that's about it. Now, if you remember, the main thing you want to remember is that the brown wire, which is coming out of the back of the can, the brown wire is going to have 12 volts on it anytime the motor's running. I mean, this one's got 11.4, 11.3. The battery's a little weak. But for the most part, what we're going to do is you're going to test everything the way it sits. You want to take it off the car and test it. It's usually the best way, and just run you a bunch of jumper wires around. But when you pull the blue wire off and you get a park, you get zero output on your brown wire. So that's it. That's how you test a 68 wiper motor. If you got any questions, you can email us at Willcox Customer Service at willcoxcorvette.com. Thank you.